So I'm Sophia. I'm a second year PhD student in neuroscience. I do cognitive neuroscience and I study how the human brain ages. And I'm also the women's officer here at Pembroke for the graduate students. Yeah, so my PhD research is investigating something that we call healthy aging. So we know that some people, when they get old, they develop dementia, but many don't. But within that group that doesn't develop dementia, there's quite a large variety of people. And so some people can be 80, 85, 90 and really, really, really healthy cognitively, whereas others might not be. And we're studying what that means neurally, but also what things we can do maybe in our lifetime that might influence how well or how poorly we age. Yeah, so one of the things that I find really, really important and really enjoyable at the same time is having a good group of people around you. I think that's true in many areas of life, but also I think definitely in this endeavor of trying to become a scientist. And so I think it's really, really important who your supervisor and your postdocs are, but also that you kind of like try and find maybe collaborations or mentors within your field and disciplines that allow you to create a space in which you can really interact and learn from others. Because I think that fundamentally, a lot of the issues that students are facing, and especially female students are facing, are issues that others have been facing for years. And so I think that that's sad on one hand because it means there isn't that much change of those issues and there aren't all that many solutions. But I think it's also kind of nice because it means that we can sort of be grouped together and help each other out. So I think it's, yeah, really, really important to have a good group of people. Right, so I have come to think, and maybe I'm wrong in the end, but I've come to think that it might be more important who you're working with than the project you're on. I find that during your PhD, there are so many things to learn. You have to kind of learn to stand on your own 2 feet scientifically and become a scientist, but I think you really need, well, I certainly need help with that. And so I think the advice that I would give to undergrads is to very, very carefully pick their supervisors and their labs to make sure that there's a good working climate and that you enjoy being there. Because I think in the end, that will determine more of how you'll become, what kind of a scientist you'll be than just the project that you've been given. I mean, I want to say that it can take place on, well, it should take place on both a systemic as well as an individual level. In terms of systems, I think that, of course, we need to have things like shared parent time so that both men and women can take time off to raise their babies if they want to. But also, you know, maybe better options to join the sciences again if you've taken some time off after. That kind of stuff can change systemically, and it is changing already. And I think on a more individual level, I think that mentoring, for example, and we at Pembroke set up a mentoring scheme for the graduate students here. I think mentoring can be something really wonderful because I think it can offer both support and like empathy, but also experience and just this feeling that you're not alone with whatever issue it is that you're having. And I think it's really important that many of us start thinking about both of those kinds of solutions, the systemic and the more individual.